It's getting so much better so quickly that I don't know if anybody's job is safe. We're going to see a lot more people wanting to start businesses online. And the number one skill that unlocks your ability to make money online is what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in on Stories and Status. As usual, in this week, I'm going to share a few things that I found interesting throughout the week. But mainly, I wanted to share 3 skills, high-value skills that I am dedicating a big chunk of my time trying to master, trying to get really, really good at. The first skill is online storytelling. If you haven't started, I think you should be creating content in some way. Doesn't necessarily have to be video. It can be writing. It can be podcast, audio podcast. It doesn't have to, you don't have, I understand that developing the skill of speaking on camera is really difficult. Been filming videos for about 3 years now, but I still, I need a Red Bull, for God's sake, to get in the mood to sit down and record and deliver something that is going to be useful. It's really, really difficult. But you don't have to create videos. You don't have to make videos. At least you can maybe start doing something else and then get good at that. Start writing maybe on Substack, which I'm doing. And once you find your voice as in you are starting to share something that is going to be useful to somebody, then you can start maybe making your way into making videos and putting yourself out there, which requires a little bit more vulnerability than just writing. But I think it's so worth it. Beyond the opportunities from a career perspective that is going to unlock, I think for me, at least, the journey has been a journey of understanding myself so much better, understanding the world so much better. I am so much more curious about how things work, about business, about politics. For God's sake, I'm reading a book about the history of Iran and the United States. That's not something that I would have been investing my time in a year ago. But because I have been doing this podcast, because I've been writing, because I've been publishing content online, I am much more interested in understanding things and understanding how the world works. That's the first part of the benefits that you get out of creating content, is you get a deeper understanding of who you are as a person, and you learn so much more about the world and the intricacies of the systems that run things behind the scenes that we are not necessarily on a daily basis are questioning or trying to understand and whatnot. At least I wasn't. But now I'm buying books literally to try to understand those things. And it's because I know that I'm going to share something. I need to find something interesting to talk about, right? Because you have to talk, because you have to share and communicate and tell stories, you end up finding ways to make your life a little bit more interesting by exposing yourself to new things and exposing yourself to new knowledge, going way back 100 years ago to try to understand what the world was like so that you can use that in an upcoming, article that you're working on or video. So that's, I think, why the first benefit everybody's going to see is that it's going to be insanely useful in that regard. But the second part of the puzzle that maybe a lot of people haven't woken up to is because AI is developing so quickly and I at least have no ego. I went to school for marketing and communications. I have no ego to think that my job is not gonna be like AI is not gonna be able to do my job, like the full scope of my job, like a year from now, based on how I played with it, right? I'm telling you based on what I tried to do with it. I just think that it's getting so much better so quickly that I don't know. I don't know if anybody's job is safe. And I think that we're going to see a lot more people wanting to start businesses online and wanting to start their own thing, like make money on the side. Or I mean, it's already like happening. A lot more people are making money online than, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And there are different tools that are being developed and created, and businesses that are helping people find new and interesting ways to make money online. And the number one skill that unlocks your ability to make money online is being able to tell stories online, is being able to create content. And yeah, I just don't know how I can stress this enough. Even if you feel like it's comfortable and your job is safe, or like nobody has ever told you that you are going to lose your job, like you should be thinking so hard about 10 years from now, like what's gonna happen to you and to your job. And what are you doing now that's preparing you, that's equipping you with the skills that you're going to, hopefully, you don't need to use them. In which case, if your job, ends up being safe and this sustains you and you don't need to make money on the side and don't need to start a business. And let's say you're not, entrepreneur and you're not driven to start something of your own, cool. Doing at least putting yourself out there and creating content to get the benefits, the first benefits that I mentioned, which is that you get a deeper understanding of yourself and you genuinely start finding things, find interesting things in things that you wouldn't necessarily find things in, because you are going to have to communicate and share something interesting. I think that's a big enough reason to start making content. But I do think also you should be doing it for the second reason, because your career, you might not see it now, but it's not safe. And you are gonna need to find ways to make money in a different way. And you are gonna need to not even find money to make, even if you go and look for a job, like the fact that you went to, let me be generous. The fact that you went to MIT is not gonna be enough. It's like, what have you done, right? Beyond that you went to MIT and you've worked at Google. What did you do at Google, right? And your CV is not gonna be enough, I don't think. Like your online footprint and the first thing a person does when I know that if I want to learn a little bit more about a person, the first thing I do is I go online and look them up on social media, look them up on Google. And, if there's nothing about that person in this day and age, I don't trust them as much as I would trust the next person who has a podcast and has a Substack and has a very active Instagram, and I can see their hobbies. I can see what their life is like beyond just the information that they chose to give me. It's just so important. if you are a business person, if you have a business already and you're an entrepreneur, it's probably one of the most, I don't know, profitable marketing channels that you can do. If you have a business, you probably already understand. But in case you've been living under a rock and you don't understand that, like, it's so much easier to reach people when you create content. Even if you run ads, which I have, like within the last 2 weeks, I've run 2 ads. And because I have been creating content like months before running those 2 ads, they are performing way better than they would have had I not been creating content. And that's like the new way to, one of the new ways. I know there's like a lot of ways to get leads for your business, but that's like one of the new ways, and I think very good ways to get leads, because the 2 ads that I ran, one of them, I had already posted it organically on Instagram and saw that it was getting way more traction than other videos that I've posted, then ran it as an ad. And then it just like went crazy. So by me doing that, like that is sort of like a strategy. Like it's, you post something, you see how it's performing. If it performs better than anything that organically performs better than anything that you've posted, then you put money behind it and then it goes crazy. But that is such a beautiful way to do marketing and to do paid or performance marketing, because you already have proof that it's going to resonate. I'm just trying to say, like, whether you have a business or whether you have a full-time job and you just want to, make sure that your job is secure, or you are able to find new and different ways to pivot, right? God forbid something happens, you cannot go wrong with starting to create content. It sucks in the beginning. It's really, really difficult. I know. I've gone through it. And I'm still like going through it in a way. But I think it's, probably one of top 2 investments that anybody should be making. Okay, the second skill that I'm investing a lot of time in trying to get good at, and I think that you should be investing at least some time in trying to develop this skill, is knowing what good looks like. In other words, taste, which is also another word that a lot of people use to mean different things. But in this case, I mean that, knowing what good looks like. If we use video editing as an example, knowing what a good video, meaning like good, effective storytelling looks like, I think that is important. It's going to be increasingly more important. Maybe not today, but 5 years from now. It's going to be very, very important to understand what a good video looks like than to necessarily know how to get there. Because as AI develops and the tools that video editors use, I use DaVinci to edit, but a lot of people use Premiere Pro. And there's a lot of tools that are being not only developed within the softwares that are being used now, like Adobe Premiere Pro, DaVinci. There's also other startups, companies that are making tools to make video editing so much more easier than it used to be. And it's going to be 100% possible that someone who's not trained to make a video can make a video using the same pro tools that everybody who spent 10 years developing video editing as a skill can. And it's going to get so much easier and easier until some point you don't necessarily need a person to edit a video. You just, sit down, film it, film the video. Maybe you don't even film the video. You just have a bunch of your pictures, put it in an AI model, tell it to write a script around an idea that you have, and it just like makes a video that looks like you, speaks like you. And this is not a future thing. This is something that you can do today. It's not 100% there. Like you can still see that it was made with AI, but who knows like what a year from now that's gonna be like, right? I think the ability to have a deep understanding of what is going to resonate with people. Like that's what taste is for me. It's can you predict that this is going to resonate with people based on your understanding of people, based on your understanding of culture, based on your understanding of the problems that some of these people are going through. And it's how do you leverage that understanding, right? Understanding of what it's like to be a human, and an understanding of your profession, right? Like video editing. And how do you direct the AI tools that are at your disposal to make something that's going to resonate? And that's where the game is going to be at. I think you should be, I am trying to spend way more time expanding my understanding of things because of that specific reason. My understanding of food, my understanding of films, my understanding of music, meaning my understanding of music in a literal sense, like, what goes into making good music, but also listening to the diverse, catalog of music, not saying that I only listen to this kind of music. Especially if you make things, meaning if you are creating content, which I think you should be anyway. All those things come into how you present your ideas and the examples you use and the analogies you use, and why you understand that something is not going to be cringe. That is a consistent theme on the podcast for a reason, because I'm genuinely spending a lot of time not just even like consuming things, but like genuinely trying to dissect what about them makes it good. Like one of the things that I'm going to share in our segment, A Little Something for You, that's coming up, is that I went to see F1, and I'm not just, watching the movie, but I'm trying to understand why did they play this kind of music at this point in the movie, and like what are the elements that are coming together to make the story, more interesting. And yeah, say whatever you want if I'm being present and actually enjoying the movie, but I think I do actually enjoy it a little bit more because I focus and pay attention to things that I wouldn't pay attention to, because I'm trying to understand what goes into making the thing. And that, like, who knows what those insights that I'm getting out of that are going to, like, in which way they're going to come into my work or into the things that I make, not only, in my side businesses or side projects, but also in my full-time job. Yeah, so because I'm increasingly understanding the importance of having an interesting and rich life, right? I think that's where taste comes from. It's from seeking to live a life in which you aren't just going through the world, but you're going through the world analyzing and understanding and questioning, and not just watching a movie and leaving and not thinking too much about it, but at least like genuinely trying to understand what about it you liked, not just drinking a wine somewhere and just leaving, not knowing what you've like consumed, what's the name and stuff. And I know it's probably doesn't make sense, like what I'm trying to say, but what I'm trying to say is like, you spending a night out and trying a different cocktail might be the story, the perfect story that allow you to connect a year from now with a client who ends up saving your business, who ends up giving you a job if you're looking for a job. And that night is not a waste of time. And the time you spend watching, marathon watching The Bear, which I'm doing right now, is not a waste of time, because that could be the show, The Bear, could be the thing that ends up connecting you with a person who ends up being your wife. Investing in things that don't look like work, that look like a waste of time, is really, really important. Because it's those things, not only do they help you be interesting, and do they help you develop your taste and be able to judge what is going to resonate with people or not, it literally becomes the things that you use to connect with people, to connect with the world. And because people are emotional, because people don't make decisions logically, I think it becomes like investing time in that, in those activities becomes way, way, way more important. And the third skill is how to get shit done. I struggle with this one because obviously, like anybody else, we have just exuberant things trying to get our attention, right? Social media, life itself, like there's a bunch of things trying to scream at you and, take you away from focusing on your work. I'm specifically talking about like getting shit done in, a work setting. Yeah, I just find it sometimes very, very difficult to sit down and get things done. And I know that, I probably come across as prolific, like I'm working, it's Sunday, I'm working over the weekend, tomorrow morning I'm going to work. That could probably make you think that it's easier for me to get in the mood to work or like focus and stuff. It's not easy. Like I have to put systems in place. I have to do things to make sure that I'm able to focus, that I'm able to get things done, because I understand that if you don't, it's just like doing anything to a level that is exceptional requires a lot of one time, but two, focus. Like you can't focus on two different things at the same time. I think there's like a statistic that if we're focused on making a video and then you go in the middle of making a video and go focus on, I don't know, maybe watch like a reel, like coming back to focusing on this would be incredibly difficult. It would probably take 30 minutes to an hour to get to a point of focus to making a video that I was at before I watched the reel. I just can't see many moments when I got distracted when I was writing something and I stopped for a minute to doom scroll, and that ended up ruining my focus for the next hour or maybe for the next 2 hours. And I know it's difficult, but if you are gonna do anything meaningful, you are gonna have to like figure out a way to just sit down for a long time without your phone, without any distractions, just get shit done. Because, man, like it takes a lot of work to do good work, and it takes a lot of focus to do good work, and you can't be focusing for 10 minutes, going back to watching a video, getting distracted, coming back. Like that can't work. And some days are good, for me at least, and some days are terrible. So I have like a few things that I use to make sure that, I can reliably stay productive, stay focused, stay doing my job, right? One, get the phone the heck out of the room. When it's out of the room, like now it's not in this room when I'm recording the video, because I wanted to focus for the next 2 hours to get this podcast done. Just get it out of the room, like put it in somewhere that you're not gonna be able to reach. I find that when it's in my, reach, when I can get the phone, it's just very difficult to avoid. When I'm in a space where I can't just put it away, like, nowhere near where I can reach it, I use an app called Opal, which basically blocks everything on my iPhone. I can choose like for how long it blocks, everything. When I reach it, it just doesn't allow you, and you can increase the level of difficulty. Maybe you have to wait for like 5 seconds. Maybe you have to wait for 15 seconds. And I just found that to be so helpful. Sometimes it's so bad, like my ability to focus gets out of hand, that I end up like, stopping the session like so many times, like taking breaks on the app so many times. But at least 80% of the time it has worked. Like when I reach for the phone, which is like, something that happens, I think now, like subconsciously, and the app doesn't allow me to open whatever app I'm going to, like, at least it's like a wake-up call. Hey, you were focused on this, like get back to what you were focused on. And I can go back, like leave the phone and go back to what I was focusing on. So that helps a lot. And on my computer, I use Momentum. Momentum doesn't necessarily like block. It's like a Chrome extension. It doesn't necessarily block everything on my computer, but it works in a way that I can focus on one task at a time. And it has like, ambient music that I can put on. Is really, really nice. It's paid. I pay only like $4 per month, which is not like much, depending on like how much work it helps me to get done. Using those two tools in combination like really, really helps me to focus and get things done, not only in my work, but also in my other projects. Those are 3 things that I wanted to share with you, 3 skills that I think that are really, really increasingly becoming more important, that I would probably recommend anybody before recommending you to learn like web design or learn video editing or learn whatever technical skill. Because, dude, like, yeah, learn those things, like invest your time as well, like in trying to develop a real technical skill. But without an understanding of what good looks like, without the ability to know how to get things done, and without knowing how to communicate effectively online, I think you are going to have at least a disadvantage compared to a person who has technical skills, but also understands culture and understands, music, and understands food, and understands, different aspects of life, and know what has like better taste in whatever your line of work is. In my line of work is storytelling, is communications. It's easier to define what taste is in that sense. But in accounting, in God, what other professions exist? Yeah, in whatever your line of work is, like knowing, having a deep understanding of what good work, quality work looks like is gonna help you be able to use AI in a way more effective way than not being able to have that deep understanding or sense of what that like good quality work looks like. Up next is our new segment, a little something for you. I started this segment last week. Basically, the idea behind it is that I'm going to be sharing with you a few things that I found online or I have happened in my life, experiences that I've had that I think are interesting and going to be useful for you. And the first is an exciting one, which is that Gymshark is running a site-wide sale on basically everything. If you are into working out and fitness and have been, like me, wanting to upgrade your gym wear, this is some of the best fits out there. So go check it out. I'll leave the link down below for you to go grab some stuff before the sale is over, which I don't know exactly when that is, but I just checked, it's still up, and it's up to 50% down on everything. So go get you some stuff. The second thing is, if you haven't seen F1, I went to see it on Friday night. I unfortunately went to see it alone, which is kind of a bummer to go see a movie alone, because I reached out to some of my friends and most of them were booked up for stuff. And I made the decision to go last minute too. So it was like a day before when I decided to get the tickets. But nonetheless, it was like a 10 out of 10 movie. I'm not a big fan of F1. I mean, I love cars and stuff, but I've never gone into F1 like that deep. But I felt like he did a good job of, as a casual, like introducing me to the world of F1 in a way that's like very, not only like beautiful and funny and interesting, but it's a genuinely, probably way more realistic film of F1. Or it's not, I don't think there's ever been anything done on F1 that's like realistic as the film. You genuinely feel like you've gone the entire experience of what goes into F1 and the incredible engineering like behind the whole game. Like, I think, at least for me, I used to think like, like the game is about the players and the drivers, and this movie shows you how much the team behind it, like the engineering team designing the cars and working on the cars, and the people, changing the tires and fixing the cars if something happens, like play a crucial role in, getting the person driving to win. It's just a beautiful movie, very, very well done. And one of the concepts that I think maybe resonated with me is because it's basically a movie about like chasing your goals, but not chasing the goals for the sake of the outcome of the things that you're going to get out of it, but chasing the goals for the sake of chasing the goals. playing the game for the sake of playing the game and just trying to enjoy it. I'm trying not to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I love that aspect of the film, of the storyline, because I genuinely think that is what I'm trying to do. It's very, very difficult not to care about the outcome, but I think it's the way to go. It's the way to go. It's just doing stuff for the sake of doing them and trying to enjoy, as cliche as it sounds, the journey. Because at the end of the day, you cannot control the outcome. You can only control the playing of the game. So go see it. I saw it on IMAX, which I've only saw a couple of films on IMAX. Joker was incredible. Dune 2, I think I saw Mad Max, the saga as well, on IMAX. It's always a good time. You feel like there's a moment, oh God, I don't want to spoil it for you, but like there's a moment where you feel like you are literally in the car, like driving near to the end. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's insane. It's beautiful. Go see it. The next thing that I wanted to share is a video that I saw on Instagram that is a really beautiful take on grief. Let's just watch it.
Comfortable asking anyone this question before, but I do feel comfortable asking you. What's it like to lose a child?
Well, I can't say what it's like to lose a child, but I can say what it's like to lose mine. The actual losing part, death, is such a doorway. And a body without someone in it is like, I understood life by having my daughter not have it in her body anymore, like having her there and then her not being in it anymore. It's like, I don't know where she went, but she's not here now. And it's like such a visceral and profound experience to be able to midwife her out of life with the same presence that we brought her in was beautiful. And I said yes. I said yes to the grief. I said yes to that journey. And it meant that whenever I was grieving, I just went with it. It's all going on now, bringing up the weather. I can honestly say that having her was the greatest gift of my life, and losing her was the second greatest gift of my life. Like, because of her and because of losing her, I am stronger, I am calmer, I have more presence, I have more ability to hold people, I have more compassion. I'm a much better human, and the gift of her leaving is a gift that I walk around with every day. So every person who I touch or speak to, that's her. So it's like her gift is me in the world, or me in the world is her gift. I have grieved. I mean, I can say this as calmly as I'm saying it because I have grieved. Like, I have lain on the carpet and screamed and shouted at the heavens to give her back. Like, I have, sat in the curb with my shopping, like just wailing with oranges rolling down the road. But I've laughed and I've made love and I've created art and I've danced and I've expressed my grief in every possible way. And I think for me, part of the metabolizing of that level of grief and that kind of an experience is to be able to turn suffering into art. And by doing that, I have to feel all of it. And I'm not afraid of that because I've been doing it now for 10 years.
Yeah. It's beautifully put. I don't even have much to add, honestly. It's just wild that we are all going to freaking die. And I hope when I die, when you die, I guess that's what we can strive for, is you leave a life precious, not to everybody, but at least to someone, that they can talk to you. They can talk about you not being here the same way that she's talking about her daughter. And more importantly, maybe, trying to do that, to talk about people and to take care of people that are in your life that you care about in this way when they're still here, which is something that I need to do a much better job on. Like, I can't be so focused on my work and accomplishing, doing things that I lose sight of what really matters, which is the people, dude. Anyway, I thought that was beautiful, and I wanted to share that with you. And there's no better way to end today's podcast, honestly, than that. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace.